So, Dalton, we've ranked the top 10 players at every single position. We've ranked basically everything. We didn't rank head coaches yet. And head coaches are incredibly important in college football. In fact, I would argue that, in the NFL, the faces of a franchise are always the players. The faces of a college football program are always the coaches, right? So we're going to rank our top 10 head coaches in college football heading into the 2024 season. And at number 10 is Ryan Day from Ohio State. He has a 56-8 record at Ohio State. He's won basically 88% of his games. For every loss he has to own, he has 7 wins, basically. So, terrific head coach. He's finished in the top 10 every single year as Ohio State's head coach. He led the Buckeyes to 2 Big Ten titles, 2 playoff appearances, and 3 playoff appearances, and a national title game appearance. He does have, I will say, one of the cushiest jobs in college football, maybe the best job in college football, and he's got to get over the hump this year. There's a lot of pressure mounting on him after losing to Michigan in back-to-back years, not winning the Big Ten in back-to-back years as well, and they're a loaded roster this year. A lot of people, including myself, expecting a national championship from them this year. So a little bit on the hot seat, which is a little weird for a top 10 coach in the country. That just kind of shows how good of a job Ohio State is and kind of their expectations at Ohio State too.
Yeah, it's kind of a strange situation there when you talk about losing only 8 games in his career there. But tell you what, number 9, I got you. Of course, you had to give me the FAU legend in Lane Kiffin, current Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin. I don't know if that's the headliner for me, but anyway, 29-10, 3 seasons at Ole Miss. Had, I believe, their best season in school history last year, a top 10 finish. Beat Penn State in their bowl game. And honestly, the big thing for me with Kiffin, if we were doing a list like this of offensive play callers, he would be in heavy consideration for number 1. It's just an incredible way that he calls plays, he sequences plays, uses the entire width and depth of the field, and now he's adding the talent to it, right? You're adding in the transfer portal big-time defensive pieces like Princely Omamnielen. I love the way Kiffin spent this offseason filling in the flaws of this team, and this may be Ole Miss's best season ever and really could be a dark horse to win a national championship.
Yeah, man, you mentioned that record over the last 3 years. That's their best 3-year record since the early 1960s, right? So it's been an incredible time at Ole Miss recently. You mentioned the program record 11 wins last year as well. But another SEC coach here at number 8, that is Brian Kelly from LSU. He has had 10 or more wins to own in each of the last 7 years, whether that be at Notre Dame or at LSU. A 20-7 record at LSU over the last 2 years. The 2 years before that, LSU was 11-12 before he got hired, right? So they were in a bad spot. He got hired and immediately started rattling off 10-win seasons now. So Brian Kelly, an excellent head coach. He brought Notre Dame to the college football playoff one year. He's a really, really good head coach and checks in here at number 8 on our list.
Stay in the SEC at number 7 to a coach who brought his team to the college football playoff this past season, and that's Steve Sarkisian at Texas. Another guy, one of the best offensive play callers in the country. Even though Texas is losing a lot of their weapons on offense, I've got full faith that he's going to figure it out with guys like Isaiah Bond and Amari Niblack and Silas Bolden, and he's still got his quarterback in Quinn Ewers too, right? But you're talking about a Texas team that just had their best season since 2009 when they lost the national title game, and they were one play away from making the national title game this season. What he's done at Texas now, they're back, and he's just another former Saban assistant that's turned the program into a big-time elite program. They've got playoff expectations again this year, and they absolutely should with Sarkisian as their head coach.
Yeah, definitely. Another guy who should have been in the college football playoff this past year is Mike Norvell out of Florida State. 13-1 record at Florida State last year. They went 13-0 before losing in the Orange Bowl to Georgia, and really that Orange Bowl was kind of a fluky game with how many players opted out of that game for Florida State. They won the ACC championship, though. Like I said, they should have been in the college football playoff. He did an excellent job of kind of just rebuilding this program, right? And really, the way he's rebuilt it is just through the transfer portal. A lot of the star players at Florida State last year, almost actually all of them really, were transfers into that program, and he keeps bringing in really good transfers. So he's done an excellent job of utilizing, in my opinion, one of the best tools now in college football is the transfer portal, and Mike Norvell is fully taking advantage of it, and that's why he's number 6 on our list.
Tell you what, I believe the longest tenured coach on our list is here at number 5, and that's Kyle Whittingham from Utah, man. He's been doing it for over 2 decades, and you know what? They just win every year at Utah, sometimes beyond logic, man, right? Like last year, you lose Cam Rising, you lose Brant Keithy. Those guys don't come back for the whole season. You have to play 2 or 3 different quarterbacks, and they just continue to win ball games, back-to-back Pac-12 titles. Now, last year they went 8-5 with a boatload of injuries to their team, but they just keep finding ways to win, and Whittingham always has them playing fundamentally sound football over there in Utah. He rides in on the motorcycles, and he's got the magic potions that make him win every home game, but whatever they're doing over there at Utah, it's because Kyle Whittingham is in charge. And, they could be in Big 12 contention this year with Rising and Keithy back, but they always stand a chance with Whittingham as their head coach.
Yeah, terrific head coach. I think he's actually the second longest tenure behind Kirk Ferentz, who's been there since 1999 in Iowa, right? So it's been a long time for both those guys at their respective programs. But at number 4, Dalton, another guy who's been around for a long time, is Dabo Swinney at Clemson. He and the guy who's going to be our number 1 coach on this list are the only coaches with multiple national titles to their resume among active coaches. 9-4 record last year. That was easily their worst record over the last 13 seasons. And 9-4 is still a really good record as well. So incredible consistency, great recruiter, always has a really good defense. He's got to utilize the portal more. I'm a little bit worried about Dabo Swinney, the game kind of passing him by a little bit because of how he's refusing to use the portal. And again, look at Norvell and how he rebuilt that program. Clemson should be utilizing the portal more. They're not. So I'm a little bit worried about the future for Dabo Swinney, but there's no denying how consistent he's been and how great of a coach he's been over the course of his career. And he still easily deserves a spot in the top 5 of this list. And honestly, you could argue him up to even number 2, in my opinion.
I agree with that. You can't take out what he does every single season with that team, with what he has, right? It's an elite recruiter, but I've got another elite recruiter out at Oregon right now, former Kirby Smart assistant Dan Lanning. Look, what he's done in Eugene the last 2 years, going 22-5. And look, nobody in the country is more glad that Michael Penix is in the NFL than Dan Lanning because he accounts for 3 of those 5 losses. Look, Oregon, they've got a boatload of talent. They're killing the transfer portal, especially this season, getting Dylan Gabriel in to take over for Bo Nix. But Lanning, you can just see he inspires this whole team. He brings the energy. He's obviously a defensive mastermind coming up under Kirby Smart. They've just got everything that they need to be in national title contention this year, but that includes their head coach. Lanning is one of the elite head coaches in the country. He was under consideration for the Alabama job for a reason, even though our next guy on this list got it. Lanning is just that guy for the Oregon program, and he's looking to put them over the top now.
Yeah, and when that Alabama job opened up, Dylan, I wanted them to go after Lanning and DeBoer, and they got DeBoer ultimately to be their head coach. The former Washington head coach checks in here at number 2 on our list. He brought Washington to their first national championship game in program history, right? So he's done a great job at Washington. 25-3 record in his 2 years at Washington. The Huskies were 4-8 the year before he got hired. So immediately turned it around at Washington and became an elite program. And overall, Dalton, in his career as a head coach, whether that be at Sioux Falls or at Fresno State or at Washington, he has a 104-12 record. 104-12 record as a head coach. And still, people were worried about him getting hired because they thought, okay, will the recruiting go down without Saban now? They brought in the number 2 recruiting class in the country in 2024. So that recruiting is still at a very, very high level right now. And I think Kalen DeBoer is right now the number 2 coach in college football for what he's done at Washington. I think he should have continued success at Alabama too.
For sure. And his biggest obstacle to winning a national title is a guy in his own conference. The undisputed number 1, there's no question about this. It's Kirby Smart from Georgia, right? Defensive mastermind who came up under Nick Saban. Elite recruiter. I believe it's top 3 recruiting classes every year since 2017. 11 win seasons in 6 of the last 7. 2 of the last 3 national titles and looking for another one this year. And even then, 2 of those last 3 national titles with Stetson Bennett as his quarterback. It was, I believe, a former walk-on, right? Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a guy who can just coach the entire team, especially defensively. They're churning out talent like crazy. Offensively, they just have the perfect complementary offense to go with that defense. And Kirby Smart, look, especially with Nick Saban gone now, and it's only fitting that he's really been the best Saban the best Saban understudy, I should say, that's taken over another team. Kirby Smart's really the undisputed number 1 on this list.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And with Saban gone, I mean, really before that, I was like, Saban versus Kirby Smart, like who should it be? With Saban gone now and Harbaugh gone too, like there's no question that Kirby Smart is the number 1 coach in college football. That's what we got for our top 10 head coaches in college football. Let us know in the comments what you think about our list. But stay tuned for more videos previewing the 2024 season. Hey, thanks for watching the PFF College Football Show. Before I let you go, though, we have an unbelievable deal for you guys right now. If you use the code CFB25, you get 25% off your PFF Plus annual subscription. We've got the 2024 College Football Preview Guide that you can find over at pff.com, featuring the best players in the country from all 70 Power 5 teams, plus 10 Group of 5 teams that have the best chance at making the college football playoff as well. You can also gain access to NCAA premium stats for historical games, teams, and player tracking dating all the way back to 2014, so the last decade or so of college football. All the stats you can hope for, you can find in PFF Premium as well. Also, you can be the GM of your favorite NFL team with our unbelievable mock draft simulator where you can draft up to 7 rounds of players for your NFL team. And if you want to dominate your fantasy league, you can do that as well using the best fantasy tools on the planet. All of that and more with your PFF Plus annual subscription, which you can find for 25% off right now with the code you can find in the description. Or if you want to go to subscribe.pff.com and use the code CFB25 at checkout, again, you get 25% off your PFF Plus subscription. This won't last forever, so make sure you take advantage of it right now.